Welcome to Conversations, Season 2 of the MTA Podcast Series, a weekly audiocast featuring interviews with leading investment strategists, geopolitical experts, and other key thought leaders. Brought to you by the Market Technicians Association.
Good afternoon. This is Kevin Hockert of Prospero Institute, and I have with me...
This is Craig Johnson from Piper Jaffray Technical Research.
And we're at the Piper Jaffray offices here in downtown Minneapolis. We just finished up our monthly meeting where our guest presenter is John Kosar of Asbury Research. We had a bunch of people in attendance today, maybe 20 or so, and a lot of positive comments on John's presentation. And we're looking forward to a little Q&A here in the podcast. So, John, the first question I have for you, I know you do a lot of sector rotation work, and I've been noticing a little relative strength decline, if you will, in the utilities area. And oftentimes, you know, that might be telling us somewhat of a story with respect to interest rates. Do you have any commentary on the relationship between the two and what you might be seeing right now in your work?
Yeah, there's definitely a relationship between the two, which is part of the reason that that's really important to us. We use relative performance in utilities for our call-on rates. It looks like we've actually been underweight for some time utilities. That trade's getting a little long in the tooth. It looks like we can have a little bit of a bounce here, a bounce in outperformance, but our asset flow data still shows that the utility sector is still very overinvested historically versus the other sectors of the S&P, which suggests to me that there's going to be a chance for more relative underperformance here over the next quarter or two.
All right, thank you.
The question for me, John, just quick is, can you talk about kind of the short intermediate term outlook? You had a lot of commentary on the S&P 500 and some of your objectives.
Sure. Short term, we think we're within a couple of weeks from some kind of a pullback here. We think the pullback in the S&P could be 6 to 8%. Our intermediate term outlook, though, it has been positive since December 5th, and we think it still has legs. We think on more of an intermediate term basis, the market can stay strong overall going into the early part of Q2.
All right, thank you. See, I've got a final question, and Craig might have one as well. With respect to interest rates, I'm seeing a little bit of we've been seeing some trend momentum and a pickup in trend, and you had kind of alluded to that as well. Correlations have been positive with respect to the direction of the stock market and the direction of interest rates. Can we glean from some of the unique charts that you showed us that maybe a rise in rates would be good for the stock market?
Yes. We've been following the positive correlation between the S&P 500 and the yield of the 10-year. It's fallen off here just over the last few weeks, but over the past several years it's been intact. I think the stock market looks to the bond market for confidence, so to speak. So I think as we are looking for rates to move higher in the 10 and the 30-year over the next 1 to 2 quarters, if not further than that, and I think that's going to have a positive intermediate term effect on the broad stock market in the U.S.
All right, thank you.
One final question. One final question for me, John, is you had touched a little bit on Dow Theory, and how would you use? You mentioned it's kind of one layer that you'll put into your consideration of a series of factors as you're putting together your forecast. What is Dow Theory telling you now?
Well, the problem that it's showing right now is we don't have confirmation. We had a new closing high for the year made in the industrials, and we didn't make a new closing high in the transports. A lot of our work has to do with identifying quarterly peaks and bottoms in various asset prices. And we're looking for some kind of a peak right now in the stock market, and the fact that you didn't get that confirmation, according to Dow Theory, just is more evidence to us that we're right in front of some kind of a pullback in the stock market.
Perfect. Again, John, I want to thank you very much for presenting at the Minnesota MTA chapter, and very much appreciate your time. And for those listeners listening to the podcast, if you are in the Minnesota area and would like to join us for our monthly meetings, we meet the third Tuesday of every month at the Piper Jaffray headquarters. Feel free to give either of the co-chairs a call for greater details. Thank you very much, and have a great day.